What is up, everybody? Sorry for the delay. We had a little bit of a thing I was just trying to take care of before I came on air, and we should be good to go now. I'll tell you guys real quickly what I'm doing on FanDuel. I'm pitching Robbie Ray on FanDuel, but I'm stacking Baltimore quite a bit on DraftKings. So that's sort of my way of getting different. I'm using a lot of 3 and 4 man Baltimore stacks primarily, but I don't mind if you want to go full 5. And I think that, stacking against the highest expected pitcher, I think this is a really good spot to do it against with Robbie Ray. I obviously like Boston, but I feel that the ownership is going to be driven a little too high. And I actually will have a lineup or two with Bradish in it against Boston. However, I do think getting some exposure to Boston is one of the complementary stacks I'm using along with Baltimore, as is the Dodgers, which I feel weird about. I mean, Jose Quintana has completely owned the Dodgers. Now, some of the players are different, but he killed us already once this year. He just owns us. It's these off-speed, tricky lefties. However, it's 80 degrees in LA. You got nice wind blowing out. It just feels like a good spot where you want to attack. The problem is that the ownership, I'm not sure that it's entirely justified to be quite as high as it is. The Yankee game, I'm still waiting. I have some concerns with the weather there, but I'm overall, I feel like it's probably going to be okay, but I don't have the enough information yet. I'm still going to have to wait probably even a little longer, because it does feel like this could be a dangerous spot. So considering the fact that they're supposed to be owned anyway, I'm okay with just skipping the Yankees, which brings us a lot of really unexciting teams to stack. I don't mind like a little mini stack from Detroit. I probably won't go there with Minnesota, although you could make an argument for guys like Garlick and Sanchez as one-offs. But Skubal's been good, and I don't really want to pick on him as much. Hunter Green and Whitlock are 2 talented young arms, and that's sort of my issue with that one. I think you could get contrarian by playing some Cincinnati bats here. It's just not exciting when you look at the bats. Tyler Stevenson, though, stands out. Nick Senzel at his price stands out. And then we get into the Blue Jays. And before everybody says, okay, we could do this to the Blue Jays, it's a young righty. It could be dangerous. All that's true. What worries me a little bit about picking on Kopech is this guy hasn't given up a home run all year. What the Blue Jays' way of scoring runs is going to be through home runs primarily. We have a pitcher who hasn't given up a home run all season, and actually that's in his career now. So it's a little bit tough for me to get there. I'm also not getting to the White Sox. I actually like Ryu as a low-owned option. I like some of these cheaper, the Ryu, John Gray, Jeffrey Springs are all in my mix right now, along with Garrett Whitlock, even though I do have a little bit of interest in Cincinnati as a way to get different. So drop on in any questions, drop in any thoughts. I'm telling you right now, I have to make some adjustments, because I did have Will Smith in a good amount of my lineups. Even when I wasn't stacking the Dodgers, I had like a little 3-mans. And I don't want to just say the Dodgers can never hit Quintana, but we've seen this story so many times and it sort of goes against us every time. So I'm a little nervous about the stacking the Dodgers, but I'm still going to get at least some 4-mans in there. Maybe not a full 5 stack, but this feels like a good 3-3-2 type of setup to me. I'm not in love with anyone else that I didn't mention, and I should maybe save the best for last. I do like Seattle again. I know I talked about them yesterday and they came through, but you're going to get some cheap bats, particularly later in the order, and Adam Frazier. Who knows if Mike Ford only gets an at bat or 2, or probably 2. But I think you can use those guys at low ownership. I don't think Crawford is going to be as owned as the other guys. I don't think Trammell or Cal Raleigh. So you're going to have some ownership on Winker, France, and Julio Rodriguez, and probably some on Suarez as well. I don't think the other guys will be overly popular. So I like the Baltimore-Seattle game is my favorite game to stack as of right now. I'm going to double check my pitching information. We do, unfortunately, well, for Ray and Ray's benefit, he has an extreme pitcher's ump, which probably makes me a little bit higher. Although, again, I'm using him as my only pitcher on FanDuel. You do have the extreme hitters umpire in the Boston game. So that is something to keep in mind, that, give Boston a little bit of an edge with the young Hunter Green out there. But Hunter Green is super talented. So don't be surprised if that one comes back to bite you. But I even like the what's it called idea a little bit. The Robbie Ray thing is kind of frustrating, because it makes me less interested in stacking Baltimore. And yeah, it's just kind of frustrating. So the spot that I really wanted to attack, not crazy, not we don't have the great win day in Milwaukee, and we have an adequate pitcher and a bullpen game basically going, and an adequate pitcher in Hendricks. So I'm not that interested in that game like I was yesterday. I still like Seattle, Boston. I don't love that we have the only extreme pitchers umpire on the slate, but I still do want to get some pieces of that. And again, I'm gonna end up playing some Dodgers sort of begrudgingly. And one thing I don't think you're gonna see like absurd ownership on Chris Taylor, Justin Turner, probably not even Austin Barnes, Gavin Lux in the lefty, Kevin Pillar, because maybe people don't need the savings as much. Those are the guys you use to get a little different within those stacks. So that's what I'm going to do. Felt very frustrated last night. I felt like I could have had a really good night, and it just didn't go that way. It could have very easily gone that way. Anyway, sorry, I'm getting some messages that I have to respond to while I'm on air. So go ahead, fire in the questions, fire in the thoughts. That's what I'm curious if anybody else has any different stacks to get off the board, because I am not loving a lot of what I'm seeing here tonight, especially with the ownership where it is. Even with the Kopech not giving up a home run, maybe that's something you could do, is to try. It won't even get you that different, to be honest with you. Maybe once you get to Teoscar and lower in the order, it'll be a little lower, but I think that people will take some shots against Kopech here tonight. And I could see an argument for Kopech. I could see an argument for Jays. I think I'm going to probably get more onto Detroit. I don't think Bailey Ober is that bad in real life, but certainly not someone I'm going to be afraid of on this kind of a slate, which is an 8-game slate that feels like it's playing like a 5-game slate or a 4-game slate. There's just not that much I'm interested in. Springs and Gray, you could definitely take a chance and stack Tampa. It's just not a fun Tampa lineup to stack the way that it is right now. They don't have a lot of their better hitters up there, and it's just not all that exciting. You could also make the same argument to go against Green and Springs, and I think that might be the way you could consider going, because I think Springs has got really good stuff. I think he's going to be a very good pitcher for a very long time. However, he's still young, and we can try to pick on the question is tonight, do we try and pick on the young guys? The more I go back to it, I'm starting to get back to Cincinnati also a little bit. So I think Cincinnati, Tampa, maybe instead of having as much Seattle and LA as I do, with a little bit of Detroit mixed in, that's probably what I'm going to end up doing. So drop in your thoughts. Anyway. Yeah, sorry. Sorry. This is if I promise I wouldn't be just messing with you guys. There's some serious stuff that comes up, of course, right at lock that I actually have to get to. But there's not a whole lot, I'm just looking through my lineups right now. So I'm going to have some exposure to the weird pitchers. You know what I mean? Like even Hunter Green is an interesting one. So the highest owned guys I'll have on DraftKings are going to be in order. Maybe not in order. I like both Gray and Springs. I think I like Gray a little bit better. And I liked Whitlock before I saw the umpire, the only extreme hitters umpire in that game. I liked Hunter Green as a weird play. And I think I can come back around to this Kyle Bradish situation. We've seen upside from this kid. He's had some good outings. He got shelled last time against Boston. Forgivable. It happens to people. But going up against Seattle here, I just think that there is enough upside for him to maybe consider him in the mix, even though, as I said, I like Seattle, and that's really one of those kind of slates for me, sort of liking both sides of things. I also think if that game does play in New York and you feel comfortable with it, maybe you go for the weird Reed Detmers play. I don't like it personally, but I could certainly see something like that working out. And then Kopech being so much lower owned than Robbie Ray, I just think good to get a little bit of exposure there. But Skubal would probably be my favorite pay up on DK. On FanDuel, I am going with Robbie Ray. And I do think that, Robbie Ray's got the leash, even if he gives up some home runs, which he always does. I mean, you look at Robbie Ray's games and you could run on him. You can hit home runs off of him. There's a lot of ways you can get to him. But at the same time, he still keeps turning in solid performances after solid performances. It's almost, it was like a 3-game slate. I could say you could come up with a mini stack and play against him with a 3-man or something, because it's really a weird slate. I just don't like it very much. It's not my kind of a slate. So I'm not playing a ton of lineups tonight. I am going to have to fiddle around with all the ones I did make. Some individual bats that stand out. I still like Contreras, even though I'm not all into the Cubs and Milwaukee game. I like Contreras specifically. I think Morel also is fine. And I think you don't usually get low ownership on Contreras here. So I'm kind of excited about that. individual bets for Detroit, I really like Scope. I don't think that's going to be anything shocking. He's going to be fairly popular on both sides, 3,400 and 2,500. And I'm just staying away from the Yankees-Angels game as of right now. But again, just to reiterate, it's going to be Dodger focused with but probably just means 3 or 4 mans. Again, I'm probably not going to mix in the chalky Boston with the Dodgers. But if you want to play a stack with them, I think Seattle and Baltimore are really good bets. And I think Detroit and Texas would be my next 2. Yeah, that's probably how I would break it down. And that's pretty much all I got for right now. So it's not a very exciting one. Sorry, we'll have a more fun one for you guys tomorrow and the next day and all that stuff. Just not all overwhelmingly excited about this slate tonight. So I'm not really getting that heavily involved in it. Anyway, yeah, so that's where we're at. So let me know if you guys have any thoughts or anything going on. Yeah, I just love the question, Project Man. That's what I was just saying. I do like Texas a little bit. I think Springs, like I said, I think Springs is really good. I think he's going to be good for a long time. But having no ownership on a Texas team, I think is definitely interesting to attack a young pitcher when you get those situations. So sort of what I'm saying about the Cincinnati side of the Boston game. Like everybody wants to play Boston, and sure, it's a much, much better lineup, of course. But we get good hitting conditions, and we have two young guys who are both. Hunter Green has as much talent as anybody in baseball. So to just stack against him just because, it's Boston at home and it's a young guy, sure, maybe it works out. But at the same time, if we have that attitude, why don't we just play the other side of it at nothing near the ownership on Cincinnati? Yeah, again, you're getting weaker offense, but you're getting 1/20th, 1/30th the ownership on all these guys. Nobody's playing Brandon Drury at 5,400. People aren't playing Tyler Stevenson. So that's probably the way that I would recommend going to get off of some of this pretty obvious chalk. As I answer these questions here on my phone, please drop in some more. And I will get to them as they come up. All right. All right. Sorry about that. Any worries for the Boston game being postponed? I'm not worried about the Boston game. Let me just double check before I say that, because I felt like it was like one of those, yeah, maybe kind of things. I think it's almost I think the real danger is it's the smallest danger of maybe a delay, but I don't think that's relevant enough. So I'm not going to factor that in. It's cool if I haven't even started looking at PGA, but we'll have a core at all. No, I'm not. I'm actually not playing PGA this week. It's kind of a miracle that I was able to do this. I'm literally going between the meetings with my daughter in the hospital. So I had to just try and squeeze this one in. So I'm going to have to go head back there after this. I just wanted to make sure to not leave you guys hanging. So sorry, Sharks. I don't have my core up for PGA because I'm not playing this week, as I just don't have the time to do the full in-depth research. And it's been a very hectic week, to say the least, for me. It's good to be back thinking a little bit about DFS. I am able to play my baseball slate, but I'm just in 30 minutes. I want to spend more than 30 minutes if I'm going to put together a golf sheet that's going to be any sort of help. But she should have Sheets' video up there. I think Sheets posted a core, but I'm not 100% sure. In all future ones, you can count on me posting a core. It's just I like to do it once I know who I'm actually going to play, and this week I'm not playing. So sorry about that. It's just been as you guys know, it's going to be one day a week for me gone, probably personally, for personal reasons, every week for the next month or so. It definitely should be good by NFL once that starts back up again. And I'll, of course, do some NBA stuff tomorrow. I appreciate it, Shark. Sorry about that. I do like to try and get those out for you guys, and I'm sorry not to have that. Joanne's got her core, and they're guys I love. They're my guys. I could have not even looked, except for Fitz. Fitz isn't as much my guy, but he's always a good play. Neiman and Pereira are, as you guys know, my girlfriend is Chilean, and I'm not just biased. I have heard these guys talked up for a couple years now, and they have made me a good deal of money in the brief time on tour. So I do like those two plays in general. I haven't done as much core study as I usually would do. So guys, if there's no more questions, I'm probably going to get out of here and finish building my lineups, but I'm happy to stay here with you guys for another 10 minutes if we do have something to talk about. So just let me know. Maybe you guys tell me who you're looking at for golf. Maybe I'll throw in a lineup from the hospital and I can get one in there. Maybe have a sweat going into the weekend. Also, Joanna, how did you feel? How did you finish last week? Let us know about that. I'm guessing you didn't have Burns because I think we would have seen a screenshot if you did. But you got everybody at -4 at the cut line, which is pretty incredible. White Sox stack I have zero interest in. I actually like Ryu better than I do the stack, so I'm going to play some Ryu personally. And Ryu is a guy who just doesn't get abused very often, even though his numbers this year look really bad. He's had some bad games, but he's still sort of ramping up. I don't know. I guess it does seem fine. It's just not what I want to do. And I think I was under the impression that they were going to be more popular, and they're still going to have some ownership. Like Pollock will be popular. Luis Robert, Jose Abreu will be popular. I think Andrew Vaughn's a really good play, and Andrew Vaughn because of the ownership. Maybe Lurie Garcia you could get in there. I think it's fine actually. I just am not doing it myself, but it is actually fine. I'm personally not going that way. I don't look at Ryu and go, okay, well, here's a guy who was legitimately the best pitcher in baseball 2 years ago, and even if he's struggling a little bit to start the season, I'm going to bet on long-term talent versus short-term results all the time, unless I think there's something actually wrong. He's never been a pitcher where velocity should matter, so it shouldn't matter as much, and has improved over his last couple starts, compared to his early starts of the season. So I just feel like he's just enough. Yeah, maybe you get one long ball off of him, but in general, always been a guy who's been pretty good against righties. I know the numbers aren't the same this year, but that's how he's been in the past. And I know his game very well, and I think a lot of him he's as a pitcher, so maybe I'm a little biased on that one. Anyway, guys, I'm going to say good luck to everybody. Please like before you get out of here. Sorry not to have more stuff for you throughout the day. I will be back and fully ready to go tomorrow, and we can talk about your guys' golf lineups. We can talk about the NBA Finals, which I'm excited about. I will be doing a little coverage on that on our live show, potentially even a regular little video, but I'd rather do it live because I like going back and forth with you guys. So tomorrow we'll have a little bit of an extended one and run a little bit longer. Maybe start even a little bit earlier just to try and make sure we cover both MLB and NBA. MLB should be pretty straightforward tomorrow because it's not as big of it. It's not it's the 12 plus game slates are the ones that are tough. The other ones are okay. So other than that, I'm going to say thank you guys for everything. We are doing the best we can, and I'm sorry I had no idea any of this stuff was going to come up personally. So I'm going to be that's why I'm in and out quite a bit, and it feels good just to tell you guys that, but it's been a rough time, to say the least, and it's been a great distraction. You guys have been awesome, but we'll get it back on track, and we'll definitely get it back on track. We'll have it where it's on track anyway, but I'll be back, full time completely before the All-Star break. I'm sorry, before the beginning of the NFL season, and much before that actually. And you guys can always DM me questions. I'm always able to not DM me. You can always tag me on questions on our Discord. I always try to answer everyone that comes up, and I really appreciate all you guys. So thanks very much for the kind words, and good luck. Somebody take something down tonight. And yeah, don't sleep on these Cincinnati guys a little bit. I think that might be this sneaky thing I'm going to probably end up doing a little bit of. So good luck, everybody.